Planning for the future, for what you'd like to happen, and what you'd like to avoid happening, is a fundamental human ability. We've all experienced hope in our lives, whether it's the hope that a project will work out, that a talk, a date, or a party will go well, or a hope that our home won't get burgled while we're on holiday. The world is full of wonderful surprises and nasty inconveniences, with personal triumphs and disasters, and with events we can never fully predict. And yet, it's in our nature to try to predict them as best we can. Just as primitive humans had to predict where the dangerous wolves or bears were likely to be, so that they could avoid them, and where the nutritious food was likely to be, so that they could forage for it. But sometimes this instinct to think through and predict the future goes into overdrive. While it's clearly useful for a primitive human to imagine where any bears might be and avoid that area, it's equally clearly unhelpful to spend so long dwelling on bears, on the idea of meeting a bear, the smell of a bear, the thought of its claws tearing into him as it roared in his face, that he just scares himself silly and becomes incapable of leaving his cave. If he does this, he's taken a sensible concern, how to avoid being attacked by bears, and magnified the emotion attached to it to such a degree that he becomes incapacitated. And this is exactly what happens when people worry to excess. They get into a habit of using their brain's natural predictive ability to run scenarios of the future in their imagination, typically things that they hope won't happen or that they hope haven't happened, and then they dwell on those unpleasant scenarios, making them more and more vivid and real until their ability to think clearly and objectively gets completely wrecked as their brain gets hijacked by all the excess emotion. A number of people who are chronic overworriers have told me that they got so used to the state of having a relatively constant anxiety in the back of their minds that if they ever did notice they'd calmed down, they'd immediately start to worry about why they weren't worrying, and quickly try to think of something to worry about. And this reveals something else about the cycle of worrying. It often feels reassuring, and leads you to believe that if you didn't worry so much, you would be being somehow foolhardy and more likely to make a mistake. But although it's true that you need to think about the potential hazards and benefits of a plan, it's certainly not true that the more thinking you do, the better your decision will be. In fact, psychologist Timothy Wilson at Yale University found that people who were asked to analyze and find reasons for their decisions were far more likely to make choices they regretted than people who were free to make their decisions without so much overanalysis. Too much thinking actually contaminates your ability to make good decisions. So this session is about learning to use the predictive abilities of your brain more effectively, to be able to look objectively at the hazards and benefits of any decision without cluttering up your mind with overanalysis, to keep all the maybes and the what-ifs of the world firmly in their place, so you can really look forward to being able to relax and enjoy your life so much more as you do.